Hello guys and welcome to Photoshop 101. This is a crash course for a beginner who wants to have their way into the world of Adobe Photoshop. So I'll be taking it slow and I'll be taking it gradual. So just follow me and then let's have a ride on. So I won't be doing much of introduction. I will just head right into it and then let's get down to business. So today we're starting with customizing the workspace. So the workspace is one of the most important things you need to um, take care of before you begin anything in Photoshop. So most people design on essentials. So I'll be showing you how you can customize your entire workspace, and then from there we can move on. So once you open up Photoshop, basically you're going to see this is Photoshop 2022. So this is CC 2022. So you'll be seeing some different workspace depending on the version you're using. But then pretty sure you're going to have almost the same thing. Whether you're using a Mac or you're using a PC, uh, they are virtually the same thing. So just follow me and then let's get right on. So this is your panel session and this is your two sessions. Okay, so first the workspace is the first thing you need to check. Now you can come here like this. There's this a bit of an icon here. It's called choose a workspace. So there's a drop down button there. So once you click on the drop down button, you could choose a workspace within here. So if you are not on essentials, you can just come and hit right at reset essentials. So it's going to reset it to the default uh, to the default is essential workspace. But then you can come up to Windows. That's another way of getting there. You see your workspace, then you make a choice of the works space. Now, these essentials are being used most of the essential tools that you use in doing your work. Like now, those who do photography will just come to photography. Those who do graphic and web will come motion and all that. So, but then essential is the basic one you can use, and you either reset it anytime or you delete the ones you don't want. You can also create a new workspace that you want to save. Like now, for example, I want to create a new workspace. After I'm done with the setup, I'll just save the new workspace. Okay, so you can also lock workspace and then you can also go through the keyboard shortcut and menu. So what I want us to do here is to I want to first work on, and you won't be using you won't be using all these panels here. So like I don't normally use any of these things here. I hardly use them. So, like the washes. So swashes, you just right click anyone you don't want and then you close. Right click, you close. Or you can drag it out here and then you see a button where you just left click on it and drag it out. And then you see this, you close it. Let's left click like this and drag it out. Then you can close it. So I normally don't use most of this. I don't use adjustment, but sometimes let's leave this and I don't use libraries. So okay. So now I'll be coming to Windows and be bringing out some of the things and then we'll set up the workspace. Okay, so you need character. So my character will be at the top. Now let's look at something. When I bring it, see what it means that it's going to be within, it's going to go after the adjustment, but I want it to be above. So you say drag it up like this, and I drop it. So character always come with paragraph. So the character where you'll be making a change of your font and all that. So let's go back and then okay, I want to use history because history you always want to use history because anytime you make mistake with your designs, you have to. So I want it to come on the same tab as adjustment. So my history should be on the same tab as adjustment. Okay, so history adjustment comment. Now, anytime you like this tool, I can if I do like this, it means it has returned me back to everything. So what I so history is just for you to go back in time or go front to help you do one or two things like that. So Then what again? Okay. Uh, okay. I don't need any more. I think this are my go-to tools. Let me see. Do I need any other one? Actions. I don't need action for now. Adjustments right there. Clone source. No. 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 Layer is already out. Measurement log, modifier, paragraph, it's already out. Pattern, property, shapes, swashes. Okay. Basically, I don't need any other tools. So yeah. Basically, I don't need any other. So what I need to do is to just make sure that yeah, my tools are where I need them to be. So yes, this is what I need. And you can decide to separate the layer from these other ones, but you can decide to put it up or just anyhow you want it. If you don't want this one to be here, let's say you want it to be on its own, you drag it down and then you put it. So basically, I want this one to be before any of them. So you can also do something. You can also bring it out here and leave it here. If you double click on this layer, it's going to, you see, if you can also make adjustment to it while, and then you can also leave it to hang here. You can also allow it to, you know, you can also leave it to be here. You can do like this and then it will come in, things like that. So you can just basically make arrangement of it the way you want it to be. Okay, so um yeah, I want it to, yeah, so pretty much this is what I want. Okay, so now the last thing I want to show you is this. You see there's an arrow here, a little of an arrow here. Now this arrow one, if you click on it, it's going to give it the tool in two places. If you click it to bring it in one places. So this is another thing to do on when you're setting up your workspace. Then still we're trying to finalize this. Then on your, you need to also bring out your ruler. So you just press on your keyboard Control K. Control K will take you to the settings preference. It's going to take you to settings where you're going to make one adjustment. So once you're not looking at the general, you come down to utility and rules. No, no, no. You come down to performance. Now under performance, you look at your history state here. It's 50, meaning if you go back 50 times, anything that is maybe 51 times, the 51, 52 times, you won't be able to get them. So what I advise you to do here is to set this at 1,000. Okay, set it at 1,000, meaning you go back time 1,000 times. So that will give you a chance in case of any error you've made, you can still go back 1,000 times. Okay, so and then you press Control R. It's going to bring out your ruler. So pretty sure I think this is all we will be discussing on this adjustment. I'm sorry, setting up and customizing your workspace. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hello and welcome to this Adobe Photoshop beginner course. We've been discussing uh, the tools. So today we'll be discussing on the crop and slide tools. So we may not be covering all because I individually don't use most of these tools. So I use just I think few inside. So I will discuss the one I know. So first in the tools we have the crop tool under the crop and selection tool and slide tools. So the crop tools enables you to crop your image, to crop your whatever it is you want to crop to your desired shape. Okay, so you can also impute measurement here. So like if I say 1620, so it means this image is already at 1620. So if I just crop it, automatically crops. So what if I want it at let's say 5 by 7, sorry, by 7. So you see this is 5 by 7 selection. So you can automatically do that cropping, or you can just make a drag by yourself, just adjust it the way you want and crop it. So cropping image enables that is for photographers, enables them to have a sharper image, a image that has a good way of the output depending on what they want. Okay, but when you're also designing, there's at times where you need to crop and all that. So crop tool is a very important tool in Photoshop. So depending on what you want, you use the crop tool and you cropped your object. Okay, so that is the crop tool. And we have the perspective crop. There are some instances and sometimes whereby the place you want to crop is having some, maybe like this image is already having a coverage everywhere. So let's say it's this place I'm interested to cut more so that I don't affect the head or this side. So what you do in this situation, you use the perspective crop tools. Now, if I click here, I'll also need to click here. I'll also need to click here. Then I'll also need to, maybe let's say it's this place I don't want to be in the equation, or I want it to be lower like this. So once I do this, the exact thing I do, that is what I can also make adjustment, maybe drag it like this. I can make adjustment. Once I'm done with my adjustment, I can now click on OK. So it's going to also crop this portion out for me. So the perspective crop allows you to pick 4 points. Okay, it allows you to pick 4 point. Now you see, another thing with it is that it's going to also change the perspective of the image. So the image has changed perspective. So the image changed perspective. So that's what it means. It also you allows you to choose 4 points, and then at the end it changed the perspective of the image. So I think this one, it requires a level of mastery for you to be able to master and get the perspective you want to get while working with this. Okay, so that is that for that. And then we'll move to the next tool, which is a slide tools. Okay, let's deselect this and go back to the previous. Okay, so this was the previous image, and if you go back now, you see that the image have a change in perspective. So what I know a little bit about this slide tool is more like, yeah, you divide an image or a layout into similar sections, okay, so that you can export them, optimize, and individually. So um so you can see this image is divided. Okay, so let's say two. So you see that the two of them are sliced and optimized. So you see, they're not they're the same image, but then I just decided to use that as an example. So I've been able to divide them and select. So now the other one, which is the slide select tool, which will make selection of the one now individually. I think once this one is selected, you can export it, and once this one is selected, you can export it. So basically, this is just the little I understand about the slide and then the slide select tools. So basically, these are what I know you can use this to do. You can use it to do build. This is just trying to show you what it does. Okay, so with time as we go, we'll be using some of them. Some of the tools I don't even use them, but some of them just for the purpose of you knowing what this tool is for and what this tool is for. That's why I'm taking my time to explain these tools. Basically, these are few I have for the slice and crop tools. So I will see you on the other one when we'll be discussing the measurement tools. So keep in touch and see you there.
So on our beginner course, today we'll be looking at the various tools, how to use the various tools in Photoshop. And basically we have quite a number of them. We have the move and selection tools, we have the crop and slide tools, we have the measurement tools, the retouching and painting tools, and we have the navigational tool, the drawing and type tools. So I will categorize them into that category and then we'll take them one by one. Let's start with the move and selection tools. So the move and selection tools are basic tools that we all know. On Photoshop, we have this one is known as the move tool. So what does it do? If it's click, you have to click for it to work. So this is the first one. Under move, anytime you come on Photoshop, if you see a down button like this, you know that there are other tools subtype under them. So if you right click on it, or you just click on the drop down button, it will come up with the other tools. So it is the move tools that you selected. So what does the move tool does? So the move tool is used to move selected area or the entire layer simply by dragging it. Okay, so if the move tool is selected as this and then you left click, then you can drag the selected part. This just on this one is just the Nigerian map that is selected. So that's the only layer that is selected. So as I click on left click on it and hold, it's dragging. So that's what the move tool does. So it's either you use the mouse or you use the keyboard. By double clicking on the keyboard, it will still move. Okay, so the move tool is basically to move something. Maybe while you are designing, while you are editing, you want to move one thing from one place to other. You click on the move tool and then you um you do the movement. So the next one is the art board tools. Now what does it do? So what does the art board do? Okay, the artboard tools allows you to design multiple web or UX layouts for different devices or screen. So I don't know why they put it together with a move tool, but well, that's what it is. Show you from here as well. Okay, now from here now, if you any of this orientation, you can bring an artboard here by clicking on this, checking on this. It's going to come out as artboard. So once it comes out as add box, this add box one, add box. If you want to add more, you can let's say let's use this one. Once I click on the add ball tool and I select like this, it assumes this is the layer I've selected for you. So if I'm done designing here, if I click here, it's going to add more. If I click here, it's going to add more. If I click here, it's going to add more. So that is what the artboard tools does. And then if you want to change to it directly, a command key, if you just press V on your keyboard, it's going to switch you to this artboard tools. Okay, so basically the artboard tools allows you to design easily multiple face, just like you see now. So let's say I'm designing maybe a sticker or different face, or a what would I say, a complimentary card, or I'm designing a web page, so you can use an artboard to do that. So basically this is what the artboard tools does. So next is the rectangular marquee tools. It has a shortcut key M. Once you press M on your keyboard, it moves you to the marquee tool. Okay, so the marquee tool has varieties of them. We have the rectangular, which means what I wanted, if it's a rectangular shape, so I use it to draw like this, and let's say I fill it using control space. If you use control space, sorry, control and back backspace, it's going to fill with your background. If you use shift and space, it's going to fill it with your foreground. So um as I use the marquee tool and the rectangular marquee tool and make a selection, I fill it with that. So that's what you can use it in basics to do. We have also the elliptical marquee tool, which helps you draw in cycle. So if you want this cycle to be in a correct shape, you just press shift and it's going to give you it's going to go in a complete cycle format. Okay, so same thing. I can fill with a backspace or using the foreground space and the backspace. Then I'll change it to foreground. And I okay. So it's going to um, do the filling with the foreground. So to deselect, you just control and D. So that's a keyboard control. So basically, these two helps you the design. The rectangle helps you design draw in rectangular sections, and then the elliptical, who is the one of cycle. Then we also have the single row marquee tool. The single row, I think this you see. So once you select once, it draws a horizontal line for you. Then let's see filling it whether it's gonna do. Let's see. Let's see. Is it going to fill? Yes, it does. So it's going to fill it for you in a horizontal. Then we also have the single column. The other is single row marquee tool and the single column. Click once, left click once, and then let's do a filling as well and see. So and then we'll do Control D to deselect. So basically, it's filled in rectangular and horizontal based on which one you select. So we have the rectangular marquee tool that helps you draw a rectangular selection outlines. We have the elliptical marquee tools that helps also in drawing in cycle. Okay, so then we have the single row marquee tool, and then we have the single column marquee tool. So this will help. So you've seen basically how we are able to achieve this by using these examples. So the next one we have is the lasso tools. They are also selection tools. So under lasso tool, we have the lasso tool itself. So this one, what you do is that once you want to select an area, you left click and then you draw around the circle without releasing it. So once you release it, make selection. So if you just do once and leave it, so you have to draw around the cycle you want to do. Let's say you want to select an area where you want to maybe patch or anything, you use these lasso tools. So lasso tools is basically used to select, but you just click once, left click. If you're using a mouse, you left click and then you draw. So that's how this tool works. Then we have the polygonal lasso tool. Okay, let's say we want to make selection just to select out this Nigeria. Okay, let me bring out an example to work on. So next is polygonal lasso tool. So let's say we just want to remove this portion. We use polygonal lasso tool to make that selection. So you see, we just remove a part, not the entire, just a portion we're interested in. So it select like this. And then you can use move tool to move just this around. That's another thing you can do with this. So then let's come back to our lasso tool. So let's deselect. But you see, we'll be able to move this to another portion, but let's just return it. So you can use this to actually cut off your background for an image. You can use it to make selections for some certain things we want to heal some spot and all that. So you have to be careful while removing it because it helps you go around the portion of the image or anyone. But then I'm just trying to do a hypothetical example. So let's say you're done like this and you want to remove it. Oh, where is it? Let's say you're done and you want to remove it. You can just first unlock this and you press space. Let's return it. If you want to remove the background, you then press right click on this and then you select inverse and then it's gone. So basically, that's what you can use the polygonal tools for. Okay, so we have the magnetic lasso tool. Let's deselect. On this magnetic lasso tool, now this is what you do on this one this time around. When you press, you just keep going. It just keep magneting itself around the portion as you go. So it keep magneting itself around. So it has to have a point of pinning. It keep magneting itself around. So until you find a place where it will magnet itself. So depending on the resolution of the image, I think. So you see, so it's going, it keeps going continuously. But sometimes the accuracy determines how you've mastered the art. Okay, um so that's how you use this magnetic lasso tools. So you keep going, and let's say we bring it to an end. So basically that's how, so it's the mastery that really gives perfection to this. So let's control D. So the next tool we have is object selection tools. So let's bring this down. So that's the next tool, object selection tools. What does this do? This helps you select an object just by dragging a rough selection outline around it. So just like we use a polygonal lasso tool, we can use object selection tool just like this, and it will make a selection around. So it's still processing. So you see it has make a selection. So that's another important of these tools. You need to know how they are being applied before. Uh, so it has also a keyboard control key. If you press W, it's going to automatically activate object selection tools. It's just going to select. It's just going to make a selection. Maybe it's going to either pick a quick selection tool or a magic one, but then all of them has the same control key as W. So this object selection tool was introduced in the recent version, I think either version 2021 or thereabouts, but it was introduced, it wasn't in the previous version like the 18 and the rest. So you may be using 2018 and maybe you didn't see this, so just know that all you need to just to update it because it was just brought about in the recent versions. Okay, so the next we have is these quick selection tools. So let's deselect this, control D. So in this one you just drag, you click and drag. So once you click and drag, it makes selection to wherever you want to. Okay, so it also has where you want to you want to minus some stops, you use this one. If you want to add, you do, basically. And then this is how you go about it. You just make a rough selection. I'm just trying to make a rough ex um how you can do this in rough. We'll go in deep when maybe in some of our video. You can deselect. Let's see, if you press plus, it means you want to add a selection. If you didn't want to subtract from the selection, like I want to subtract this portion from the selection, so at the end it's just this portion that is selected. If I want to add, is to say, okay, I need all of them inside the selection and all that. So that is the next tool. So we also deselect. The next one is the magic wand tool. This one, you just make a one-time selection and it selects just the place with the same what will I say, select area of similar colors with a single click. Yes. So if I select now, so all the areas with the same texture, same color, same this, is just going to make selection. So most of the times, let's say you have a white, you see this place will make another. If I click on the black spot, it's going to make another selection and all that. So that's what the magic wand tools does. So basically, this is just all about the move and selection tools. So we'll go into more details of the other tools in the next episode. So stay tuned, and for now, bye bye. Still on explaining the tools, various tools, still on explaining various tools used in Photoshop. Today we'll be dealing with the retouching and painting tools. There are quite a lot of tools in this category, but I will try as much as possible to explain the most important. I may not be able to explain all, but then I will try my best to run through most of them. Okay, so here's a photo of a picture I took just recently. So I like to use some of those retouching tools to do one or two things on this picture. So here we know that she have red eyes. So the first tool we'll be dealing with will be the red eye tools. Okay, so I have the red eye tool selected. You press Alt and then use the center of your mouse to scroll for it to zoom like this. So this is what the red eyedropper tool does. So all I need is to sample out that place that I need clear, and then, but this process I have to keep repeating it for me to have a reduction in the red eye. But most of the times I don't really like this tool. I'm only showing you how you can reduce uh, the red eye on this and what this tool is used for. So it samples out the color in an image, increase the sample size, then you know it gives you a little bit of, if you go down now, you see that at least there is a bit of change. So that is what that red eye um, dropper does. So the next tool we will be exploring is healing spot brush, the spot healing brush. So we have the spot healing brush here, which is the first one. What this one does is you increase your brush size here, whether big or small, depending on how, and then you can also use um, the option on the keyboard, the open and close bracket. It's going to increase or decrease the size of the brush. So you see this spot here, once I click on it, it will delete it. So that's what the healing brush does. So this healing brush does, you need to be careful so that you don't create a hole or whatever on your picture. So that's basically what the healing brush does. Healing spot healing brush does. So we have the healing brush. It does similar thing, but this time around you have to let's say, look at the way this place is shining. So I want that spot here to reflect here. What I will now do is I will increase the size of the brush I've increased the size of the brush. So I'm going to hold Alt to sample this place and bring it. So that's to say, whatever I now do here will be bringing sampling from this side. Okay, so but it's this is not the use or you. I'm just trying to show you what you can use it to do. So you hold Alt to sample the part you want. Like if I want this part now, I sample this part and then I bring it in here. So you sample and then you now make a painting on it. So that's what the healing brush does. Okay. So the next tool we have to take because we are just so much. So you see, it's sampling now. You can see, but then that's just to show you. So we now have the patch tool. Now this is another tool. What you need to do, you still like this place now that I want. So if I want to make a change to it, I will sample it, then I will move it. You see, so once I drop it here, this is it's you see now, though it's not really fixing it, but I'm just showing you what you can use it for. So it's going to reduce the brightness here with this side, but then you know that it's going to definitely bring the shape that is at this spot to this place where we are just sampling now. So it's already spoiling the image anyway, but I'm just trying to show you what you can use the patch tool to do. So let's say this spot is having play issue. So you find this sample of that site from a very nice place, a place with the problem. All right, let me use that language. Then you sample the place with the problem and take it to where it has a similar uh, um, and a correct place, so it does not fill the hole in the original spot. So basically, it does with filling spot. Let me use this. It work well with spot. Now this place has spot, this place has no spot, so let me take it here. So you see that the spot here is already filled. Basically the spot is filled, so it works more with filling spots on the face. So I'm just trying to also do some other um extra curriculum, okay, but then it works well with um spots on the face. So you can patch the place with the problem and take it to the place that has no spot, and it's going to patch it up. So that's what, as the name imply, patch tool. Okay, so let me do a bit of cleaning so that we don't spoil the image further. So let's go back to where we were. Okay, so everything. Now, the next tool we have here is content aware. Okay, so let me do a bit of a cropping here. Let me crop and leave hole here. Let's say crop, and then we have this hole. Now, we've already cropped our image to the size we want. But how do we fill this white spot that has just been introduced? And then we don't want it to be, we want to fill this white spot. So what you do, you pick your rectangular marquee tool and then you make a selection. Once you've done that, you press Shift on your keyboard and backspace. It's going to bring you up here. So you just uh, leave it at content aware and then you OK and watch the magic. Okay. So you can see that it has filled this side. You're not really seeing any other thing, right? Let's fill the other side. So Shift and backspace. So the whole place has been filled using content aware. You can't really recognize anything. Okay, so that's what content aware does. So the next one we have is the color replacement tool. It has a keyboard option. If you press B on your keyboard, it automatically takes you there. So here is it. So you select your color replacement tool. Now, what the color replacement tool does, it does. I use this more than the red eye tool. So what this one does is like you make sure that here is white, your foreground is white, and your background is black. Okay, so once they are like that, you can be able to clean the eye. So now watch me. So as I go through the eye gets clearer. So I go through the eye gets clearer. So it cleans off the red effect. Now look at what I'll do with the teeth. So I know most of my photographer friends spend time, but honestly I am more of the sharp guy. Well, but they are doing well because there are other methods you can clean this whole thing. But it's really time consuming. And then, well, this is how I do mine most of the times. Not that I don't. Most of the time, this is how I just make a little adjustment in the cleaning. Not really, or so now that this one is obvious, we will clean it. And then I'm still seeing some obvious here. So you can see, so this is what the color replacement tool does. It replaces the color at which you select it, and then it gives you, it's more like a crash course anyway. So, but then there are professional way of retouching the eye and the teeth. But then if you are in a haste, especially when you cover plenty weddings and you do need to make some color corrections and all that, you can casually use the color replacement tool to do that. So the next tool we have is a mixer brush. So mixer brush, what it does is that the standard brush, what it does is that you use it to paint other when you do masking, when you do other thing. But then unlike the standard brush tool, the mixer brush tool in Photoshop can stimulate elements of real painting, such as mixing and combining the colors and paint wetness. For example, now you see that this spot is more lighter than this side. So the mixer brush can, okay, when we're editing normally, when we do frequency separation, we try to see how to mix the phase, the flatness and all those English. But then mixer brush helps you get most of those things done instead of you using the blower and all that. I want to just apply mixer brush. So you mix. But then my settings that I use, the weight is 30, the load is 30, the mix is 30, the flow is 30, and then this one is 10. So when you mix, you keep getting the result of what you're mixing. But we're not doing frequency separation. I'm just showing you what you can use this tool to do anyway. So uh, I'm not retouching. I'm just showing you what you can do. So it's already making some effect on this. So see, the more I mix, just look at, let me just the more I mix it, it's becoming smoother and smoother and smoother. So it determines the level of the mix you want. Okay, so you just need to mix so that you don't spoil the picture. Okay, so that's what mixer brush does basically. You use it to mix areas and then put them, let it simulate the colors and all that together, as the name implies, mixer brush. So you've seen it. I don't have correct English to use, but then you've seen it. Okay, that's that for mixer brush. So let's move to the next tool. um as I said, I won't be explaining all of the tools, so we will be mixer brush and all that. So brush has its own, for example, let's say um I want to paint this color, this cloth into another one. I can max the clothes and then paint over it the color I want. Okay, so let me just do something without masking or anything. Let me just paint. So you see, I'm already painting the black on it. So that's what paint this. So, but you have to have maxed the site of this cloth before you do the painting. Let's say I didn't want this color and I want to paint it to another color. So I have to mask it, and then while masking, you have to also take note of the sewing part, the shape of the cloth, and all that. So that's that for the mixer and then the brush. Okay, so I don't want to waste too much time on these tools. We have the pencil tool, but then let me explain the clone tool first before I'll come back to the pencil tool. Now, the clone tool, let's take for instance, let's say, let me uh, bring in something. Let me bring in my own logo. Okay, let's say this logo is in my way and I want it gone without affecting the background. What will I do? Anyway, with all the tools we've explored here, uh, okay, let me join them together. Okay, let me join them together. That I want to match them so that it will be one layer. It has to be one layer for it to give us the maximum result. So now let's say I want to remove this logo without affecting the background. So the best tool you can use, there are other tools we've seen so far that you can use content aware and it will remove it, or you can also use uh, stamp clone stamp tools. So once you select on clone stamp tool, you hold your alt and then you sample the area you want. So let's increase the brush so that we have a one time or two time painting. Let's increase the brush again. Okay, so you hold the shift and the alt button on your keyboard, then you sample, then you now brush. Now, why is it doing that? Is because while I was trying to sample, I also pick up the portion width. So, oh, so as you're sampling, you see the way it's moving. So that's that for that. So that's what you can use the clone tool to do. Basically, so there are other things you use it to, but this is just basic explaining the tools and all that and all that. There are so many tools. Let's see if we can um run through them. We have the background eraser tool. Now this one, as the name implies, um this background, see, all I need is to increase and then start erasing the background. So you see, it's going to start erasing it, but then it's only erase it as effective as you can, because when it comes to this picture, how do you now erase it? So it depends on what you are erasing that this background tool and background eraser tool will do for you. Okay, so as the name applies, some of them, as you see their names, you just know what it's for. I'm trying to rush so that we um to see what we can do. So we also have the magic eraser tool. It works like the magic wand tool. It also works like the we also have this one that we call we've covered magic wand tool in the previous video. So you know what it does. One click and then it begins to erase area that have similar colors. It begins to erase. So that's what, just like the way magic wand do, but this one does, yeah, you can use magic wand to erase background as well. So they have a similar uh, attribute or whatever. So we see that we've able to remove our background using, but then it's not going to be a perfect remover, as we all know, because there are some particles that will be removed that have the same similar or other things like that. So a lot of things will contribute to it not perfectly removing the background. But then it has done a pretty small good job here. Okay, so that's what the magic eraser tool does. So then we have the blur tool. Now watch. So the blur tools. There, apart from this, the blur they way they here. Let me use Nigerian pidgin. The blur way they here no dey the same as the one way they here. Okay, so this blur, what it does is that it let's increase the size. It softens the area that you paint over with this tool. So let's say, see, as I paint, look at, it's softening the area. It's softening the area. Let's increase the size. So as you paint over, it's softening the area. That's what this one does. It does, let me say, I won't say it does the same thing as what's the name of the other two? Like mixer brush, but it also soften um the place you are painting over. So the result may not be clear because we didn't duplicate this layer so that we'll see the changes it has made. But I'm only trying to use this to show you that as you paint over, it does a lot of smoothing. Okay, so we have the next tool we have is sharpen tools. So sharpen tools basically sharpens the area you paint over. So let's say this same area now. If there is so let's look at the sharpen stuff together. So what it does is makes it more like I don't know, but let's look at the whole thing. It's just there's this feel, I don't really know how to explain it, but what you need to take home is that it sharpens area you paint over. So for now, just know that it sharpens area you paint over as we go on using on this course. So you can see, so it's already showing. Yes, the result is showing, but then it's looking like the lady has some, I don't know, is it fungi or whatever on her face. So I think my system is slowing down, so it's taking time for it to load. So you see the sharpenings, this place I'm holding and this place. So it's already having some sharpening effects on it. So I hope you understand. My system is drawing slow. I don't know what is wrong. So you can see this. So it's the sharpening effect that is coming from the paint we did. Okay, so but that's just that we just want to know what the tool is for right now. So the next one is the smudged. Okay, this tool they use this tool oftenly for those doing what they call it, when they want to do digital paint, like all those artists and all that, smudge paint and all that. So it's I don't know, but it's basically a tool they use to make those their digital stuff after they've done all their thing and all that. But then as you paint over as well, you will see the effect. As you paint over, you see what I'm saying? It's making it looking like that smooth and that cartooning nature what you see in most of those digital paints. So that's what this tool does. I'm only doing so that you see what you can use this tool for. Okay, so you see that most of those this thing the digital pens, they is this smudge tools they use. Okay, the next tool is the dodge, and there's this thing called the dodge and bones when you're doing frequency separation. So the dodge tools, um to my system, I'll be editing those parts out, so no need to worry. So now the full effect of that smudge tool is actualizing, so you can see it. I think my system is going a bit slower than it should be, but let me just manage to finish this video before I restart it. So so now the full effect is now actualizing and showing. So it's already turning to the nature of those smudge paint you've been seeing on. So you see the way it's going, see what it's doing to the whole place we've paint over. It's making it look like yeah. So I've done a lot of paintings now that it's showing this effect. But then I believe you understand this small explanation I did. Okay, so the next tool is the dodge tool. So these are the three last tools we're dealing with: the dodge, the bond, and the sponge. Now the dodge, what the dodge does is that okay, all of them has a control key. When you press O, it just takes you there. So the dodge, what it does is that it lightens the place you paint over. Like um let's say normally after you're done with frequency separation, you look at the place that are lighter, then you see this place lighting. Now let me lighten this place. Do you see? So that's what the dodge does. Now look at the bunch in the other now this place, now look at the bond will darken it. So that's why they call them dodge and burn. The dodge lightens, the burn darkens. That's in one statement. That's what you should go home with. The dodge lightens, sorry, the burn darkens. Okay, so now we have the last tool, which is a sponge tool. So let's say you want to increase or decrease saturation. So that's the tool you will use. There are other tools, but you know, in this journey there are so many destinations. There are so many road, but leading to the same direct destination. So let's say we want to reduce the saturation or increase saturation, depends on which one you do. But then I'm just trying to reduce saturation. So you see, it's turning the picture into already black and white already. So there are other things you need to press, but then I'm just showing the tool in its raw basics. Okay, in its raw base, I'm just showing you the tools. So basically, these are the tools which, though we may not be able to exhaust all the other tools like the gradient tools. What the gradient tool does is let's say I want to, now you see these two colors, so I will draw from here to here, then make a fill of the color. So you see it fills it to, and as gradient, so all you need to do is to click and then drag. It's going to have a drawing of the two colors, this and this, on it. So before you do the gradient tools, you change this color to the color you want. This one, it can be on when you are doing designs and all that, but since we're using image, let's use this very one. Okay, let's use here. So I want it to be painted um, red and black. So using the gradient tool, I click and I drag it to this side. So what's going to do that is going to have a black and red gradient. Okay, so that's what the gradient tool does. Bucket paint. Okay, bucket paint. So what it will do is that it's going to fill an area code like this whole place we select now is going to fill an area of similar color with your foreground colors. So it's just the foreground color that is going to fill. So you see, the more I drag, you see my foreground. So if I drag this area now, it's going to fill it with foreground color. So that's what this bucket paint does. But then when we enter into serious work, some of the designs we'll be doing, we'll be using this tool so that you get to understand why we had to explain all of them and all that. So it's just basically we're trying to explain these tools to you so that you at least know that these tools and these tools they exist. So in essence, all of the things we've been doing all have been on essentials. So you have to be on essentials for you to get the whole thing we are doing right now. Okay, so um this tool though it uses 3D material, but then let's leave it for now. That's the 3D material drop tools. It uses 3D. It won't work. I've never used it, to be frank. I've never used it, and I've not checked up online on what it is used for. Okay, so the history brush and the art, so we won't be able to explain this, but just know that there are these tools, and the video is already long enough. But then I think we'll stop here for the retouching and painting tools. All right, so next coming up will be the drawing and type tools. Stay tuned. See you there.
So today we are back and then still on the still on the Photoshop beginner course. Today we'll be looking at the measurement tools. So for you to follow what I'm doing, you have to be on the default workspace, which is essentials. So you have to come to Windows workspace and then make sure you are on essentials. Okay, so we'll be dealing with the measurement tools. All right, so let's get right into it. So measurement tools, there are quite a few of them, so we'll run them over. So once you come here and you right click, you will see, so we'll start from down up. So you will see all these are the tools that are in measurement tools. So we'll be starting with the count tool. Okay, so the count tools allows you, okay, um, so you use the count tool to manually count numbers of objects in an image. Okay, so we have basically um a lot of image here. So and we have three groups here. So what we can do on this is to create a numbering. So first you come up here, there's count, number of count is 0. So you come up here and then this is a group. So you create a new group. Let's say we name it group 1. Okay, then we okay it. So now whatever we name will be in 1. Okay, so Then we also change the color since it's having, okay, let's leave this color. So when you press 1, it's name it as 1. So you see that the count is 1. So this one will be 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is under this. So you can also increase the label size maybe to 20. It will also work on them. They're all in, since they are in one group, they're all going to increase the color. So the next one, you create another group. We say it's group 2, and we okay it, and then we begin to label 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we change the color. Let's say we want the color something different. So once you change one of the color, all of them changes color. Okay. So if you go back to group 1 now and we change it, we change the color now. Let's say we change it to black, and all of them will change. Okay. So now let's create the last group, which is group 3. And then we name it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we change the color to color red. And so basically it helps you to manually count the number of uh, image. Okay, so that's that for that. And then you, as I said, because they're in group, whatever you do to each of these group, it will affect all of them. So you can also rename, you can keep adding group. You can, let's say on group 1 now, if I click clear now, all of them will clear. Okay, so they'll all clear off. So let's undo. Let's undo the clear. Okay, so it's come back. So let's say we want to delete group 1. We click on group 1 and it's all gone. So basically this is how to use the count tool. So up next is the note tool. All of them have a shortcut I. So the next is the node tool. Okay, so let's say um you are the client, and then the graphic designer sends you this design, and then after going through, he sends you the PSD, and after going through it, and then you find out there's some few things you need adjusted. So instead of typing it on him to him, you just decide to, you attach a text, a note to the document, so that the person helping you work on it can also make adjustment. Let's say on this image that was put here, I don't like it, or I wanted something added here, maybe a text. I can, let's say here, I just drop this. Once you left click on this, it's going to give you some options. When you come up here, you can change the option of the color uh, of the of the note. Then you can also, this one, height and bring it. You can also clear the note. Then here you now type the note. Let's say remove or change, sorry, no. Oh, so if you press backspace, you're deleting it. So you just highlight and then type again. Change this background. As I said, you have to select it before removing. Change this background. Okay, let's say I just want him to change this, but I don't like the background. So you find something, or I say find something similar with a more you know, with uh, a more detailed. I I just want to type something anyway, so I don't really have what to type right now. So then let's say I want this font change, so I'll click on it and say change font to maybe let's say Monstral. I can't even spell the Monstral right now. But anyway, so change it to Monstral, Monstral bold, you know? Then maybe saying, okay, any change at all, anything you want to, okay, change this color, change anything, you just add a note. So basically, the purpose of the notes tool is to help you add a note to describe something. Maybe you're working the same, you and someone are working on the same project and you want to leave a note for the person. So you can use the note tool. Okay, so moving next, we're going to the color sampler tool. Okay, so on the color sampler tool, what it helps you does is that it samples uh colors. Okay, so now once I click on this, it's going to give me details of the color, the RGB. So this color I can also export them at the same as well. So let's say after that, if I click the next one, it's going to sample. So it's adding them. So if I click, it's going to sample. It's sampling them. It's sampling them, and you can see them all piled up here. You can see all of them piles here. So now I sample this, I sample this, I sample this, and I sample this, and sample this. So, okay, so it said could not create a new sampler because the maximum number of samplers is 10. So you can only sample 10 at a time. Okay, so basically it samples all of these colors for you, and you can use them to do whatever you want to do. So now each of them will give you a details of the RGB color, which that is like, for example, this number one, the first one now is 2223, 191, and then 141. So continuous like that. So it helps to samples the color and then so that you can use them. So basically that's what the color sampler does. Okay, so we have the eyedropper too. Okay. Um the eyedropper too. So it also samples. But then once I click further, I click on it like this, you see that what was there will come on the on my foreground color here is also coming on this color palette here. So all of this you can also export them to your swatches, you know. So that's what the eyedropper tool does. So it helps you sample. Anyone you sample goes to your colors and all that. So basically these are what these few tools are for. And then ruler, we all know you use ruler to measure. So I want to measure like here, then measure from here. You click and hold, so you measure. So it helps you to measure basically. So when you come out, you see the measurement is written up here. Okay, so it's telling you that the length is this, this is that, and that, and that. So once you come on it, you can maybe make some adjustment settings. You can reset all the tools, you know. You can also replace, you can bring in whatever you want to from outside. Okay, so and then you can also clear, and then you can also use measurement scale, you know, all that. So basically it helps you measure. All right, so basically this is how all the tools in Photoshop are being used. So I believe I may not have explained all of them, but I think I've done justice to almost most of them. And so we continue on this path, and then I will see you in our next video where we'll be launching into the Photoshop fully. I believe you've gone through all of the videos I've been dropping, So we're moving right into starting one or two things on Photoshop. All right, so I will see you in the next video. Please don't forget to support me by subscribing, liking, sharing, comment. Those things give me joy whenever I see them. So thank you and I love you. For now, bye bye.